Hello! It's time for Married at First Sight New Zealand Season 2, Episode 13 recap. And you know what? It's the finale. Well, as you will recall, we left last time at the final dinner party, and that is continuing. Julia thinks that Dave threw her under the bus. She's giving Dave a talking to. Frasier says, "Can we have some dinner now?" They start off the meal with a prayer. Frasier is his usual funny self. Adi makes a few jokes. Gareth tells her to shut the F up. Oh dear. Adi wonders if his reaction is because of insecurity. Monique notes that the dinner party probably isn't the ideal place to work out differences. Adi feels like she made the right choice to walk away. Gareth tries to bait her into an argument. We see him say he doesn't care what anyone thinks. The bickering continues. Everyone then becomes really uncomfortable. And then Adi starts to poke the bear, and then people make note of it. Julia then tells Dave why he is wrong about what he said at the recommitment ceremony. They bicker a bit. He points out that she called him codependent, blah, blah, blah. She says she gave 100%. He says if it was 100%, then she wouldn't have spent so much time with other people. She continues to get angry because he just won't cow to her belief that he is wrong and she is right and blah, blah, blah. FYI, I'm so proud of Sam for staying out of it, staying out of every people's business. So good for him. I was really proud of that. So he obviously has learned something from this experiment, is to stay out to other people's relationships. Anyway, so she says that Dave is putting her down, but all I heard him do was basically defending himself. So if we missed something, I have no idea what it is. Wayne asked if Ksenia ever liked him. It sounded like she said no. He says that he wished she had told him. He basically wishes her the best. He says he learned from the experience. The experts agree that she did not make it easy for him. And we all know that. Far out, that woman was nuts. Frasier tries to cheer Wayne as he's feeling quite emotional. You know, he wants his happy ending too, right? Oh, Lord, here we go again with Julia and Dave. Oh my gosh. At this point, my husband's in the other room and he's like, "Oh my God, why do we have to keep going over that again?" I said, "I know, right?" Far out. Oh, she then says that she doubts he gave 100%. Oh, this 100% bullshit. Let me just tell you, I'm so over this. Oh, 100%, 100%. Oh, screw it. It's just insane. She said he stabbed her in the back with his recommitment vows, but he didn't. She says he put her down by his vows, which wasn't at all what any of us heard except for her, because she's conjured this in her mind. And she doesn't seem to realize how bad she's making herself look on this episode. She just doesn't get it. He says she needs to stop lying. She keeps asking questions and then interrupts him when he tries to answer. We have to hear again how emotionally exhausted she is and blah, blah, blah. She just isn't a happy person at this point. And it's really sad because she's just looking like a spoiled brat. Dave points out that she's unhappy because she isn't getting her way, and I think he hit the nail right on the head. Well, she then says, "F you," and he just has had enough and he gets up and walks away. She then whines and says he put her down due to her independence, but that's not what any of us heard. We just keep hearing him say, look, he wanted more time. But then, nope, that's not it. She says it's about her independence and he's putting her down. No, that's not what he said. Clean out your ears and hear what he bloody said, which she doesn't hear until the freaking experts make her shut the hell up later so that he can actually finish his sentence. But I digress. Anyway, she's creating drama. Gareth reminds him to not let her talk over him. Dave hates that Julia cries, because he does care. But he doesn't seem to realize that she is the ice queen. So anyway, we have to hear Julia groan on. And she seems to think that he's dragging her name through the mud, which he's not. She's just making herself look really bad to the entire country by her behavior at this party. She doesn't seem to get it. He didn't do anything to make you look bad, Julia. You're doing it all on your own. Anyway, she can't see she's bringing this on her head. She now realizes she shouldn't have said F you to him. Oh, Sam and Adi try to console her. Dave says she is just upset because she wants to save face. It's not because she loved him in his broken heart or anything. It's just she's trying to save face, and he is absolutely right. So now, when they show Julia, I am just phased out. I mean, I just literally can't hear anymore. I mean, I can't. I'm just over it. I'm done with this one. Let's call it a day. Julia, move on, and Dave can find someone, you know, maybe he can be the next bachelor. We can act, well, but we actually have a bachelor who's mature and really ready to get married. How about that? How about Dave? He's a great guy. He's nice. You know, he takes good care of himself. I think the experts should find him somebody else. That's my thoughts on that. Well, we have to see the experts one last time per couple. Dan and Yuki, well, thank goodness. We needed something happy, didn't we? We had to have something good to watch, didn't we? Dan asks her what he has done that might have annoyed her. She says nothing big. You know, I think the only thing she said was that, you know, maybe he didn't flush the toilet once or whatever, but that wasn't a big deal. Dan says after he saw her, after not seeing her for a couple weeks, you know, he was so happy to see her, and he was glad to see her smile, and it was great. They admit that they haven't gotten to the I love you word saying stage yet. Dan says that when he says it, he wants to really mean it, and they look forward to the summer and holidays and more time together. And of course, we wish them all the best, and Yuki says she feels quite lucky. So we're so happy for Dan and Yuki. I mean, they seem to be the Brett and Angel of this year, and all we can do is just, you know, wish them the best and step back and just see where life takes them. I'm curious to see how things go for them. So, all right, Wayne and Ksenia. Let's sing that nightmare one more time, shall we? Tony asks for a reflection of Ksenia's journey. She says she met people, and then she giggles, her usual giggly weirdness. She says she wanted more attention from him, but he wasn't giving it. The experts say, you know, it's a two-way street. What did you do? Well, she has no good answer, and she complains more about him not giving her more. I just want to say, Wayne, you're being very patient. I was quite proud of you. Tony asked him his thoughts. He says he wasn't really listening. And honestly, I tuned out too, mate. I did. Ksenia says, story of my life. And then Tony points out that her humor, you know, that she thinks she's just being funny and jokey, is actually veiled insults. And which is so true. If we recall, you know, I think they even showed a flashback, you know, some of the things that she said that were just rude, you know. Oh, the rain is coming harder. So, yeah, far out. Poor Wayne. Anyway, she does say that she got to know herself better through this experience and all that. But, I don't know, she doesn't seem to understand that she comes off sounding mean and nasty. And I don't know, hopefully she can look back at this and realize that, you know, just telling someone they look stupid or they're this or that is stupid or whatever, that's not a joke. That's just being a bitch. And hopefully she'll be able to learn and be able to, you know, see the difference, I hope. We'll see. Because, you know, if that's her humor, well, I'd love to see her try to do a stand-up routine, because that's not funny, because she'd be booed off the stage. Anyhow, perhaps Wayne and Gareth can do their own reality show and have adventures in bromance or something like that. I don't know, but good luck to them. Let's move on to Monique and Frasier. Frasier says they had all the ingredients, but the rest of the recipe just couldn't work, so to speak. It was, at least that's the analogy. It was like they had all the ingredients, but, you know, either the pan wasn't right or the oven temperature wasn't right, or, you know, he was equating it to like trying to make a recipe. He says at the start he was more into it and he overinvested at first, and Monique was slower to warm. And he says that by the time she was coming around, you know, he was starting to slow. They admit that neither of them likes the other's sense of humor. He's very complimentary of Monique. He says he felt like Monique always respected him, and despite them not being on the same page relationship-wise, etc., they've, you know, she's always been respectful of him. At this point, he is crying, and he's very glad that they've always treated each other with respect and kindness. The experts say give it time because, you know, you never know. I mean, they're friends and they continue to talk to each other. you know, but either way, we wish them both the best and with their futures. Oh, God, we got to go back to Dave and bloody Julia. Ugh. Tony asked for reflections. Julia first apologized for swearing at Dave last night. She again says she gave 100%. Trisha asked what she gave. Julia then refers to Dave to answer because, you know, apparently her 100% should have been enough of an answer for the experts, but instead, oh, let's have Dave tell. It just didn't make sense. Anyway, so Dave then tries to say how he feels, that he felt like he was robbed of time. He heard Julia's feelings from other people instead of her. He felt she confided in others instead of him. She starts to interrupt him, and as she does, thank God Tony stops her. And he lets Dave actually finish his freaking sentence for once. He says he respects that Sam was her good friend, but that is what he wanted to be to her. Because obviously, you know, they had to start somewhere. And, you know, he wanted to be that person. But instead, she continually went to Sam as that person. And she just doesn't seem to understand that. And then she tries to turn it into, oh, her independence. No. Freaking hear. Open your bloody ears. Tony stops her and he says, what did Dave say? Well, she still can't freaking say it. She can't. Because she just doesn't hear it. She's overthought it all. She can't seem to just say, okay, this is what he actually said. Why can't you just repeat what he said? No, instead, she's overanalyzed in her head, and this is what she thinks, so therefore that's what she's thinking, blah, 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 blah. Oh my God, it's insane. Because Julia just can't let Dave finish a sentence, and that I cannot stand that. The experts at least let Dave finally speak. She wants to keep interrupting, but she keeps getting stopped. She then says he walked out. He says, you're lying. Of course, she gets animated and then tries to pull Sam into this whole thing. They show Sam looking uncomfortable. We go to commercial break. When we come back, Dave says Julia talked him out of leaving when he said he was done. She says no. The experts stop them and say, look, this he said, she said stuff needs to stop. Because at this point, you know, it doesn't matter who's right or wrong or whatever. The point is, it's done, and we don't care. I think that's what it is. We don't care. Dave tries to say what he wants. You can't hear what he's saying. You try to turn it into something else. We're over it. It's done. Thank God it's bloody over. Now, Tony says, take some time out and breathe. Adi tries to comfort Julia and basically says, you know, there doesn't have to be a right or wrong. And, you know, I think at the end, Julia finally realizes she needs to let it the F go because it's done. And this rain is getting hotter and hotter. All right, Adi and Gareth. Adi looks amazing in her dress. I mean, she looks hot. But she's gorgeous anyway, so she looks just absolutely amazing. Gareth apologizes for what he said to her last night. Adi seems unimpressed. The experts say they are surprised by Gareth's behavior. Adi says he's different off camera. Adi comments that he may find a little wifey to be what he wants. He says she misunderstood her because he had asked her a question. She interpreted that as him believing a certain thing. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because we know these two are going to be together, but, you know, it's all semantics. He says, you know, he tries to, she doesn't like him. They go back and forth about comments made. He says he tries to explain he wasn't sexist. It just, if it came off that way, he apologized, but he was just asking her a question. He says he does have something for her, and it was the ring that he had bought her a few weeks back. He gives it to her. They hug. But then later, you know, it's like as they're having asides, you know, little talks, which I don't know if they realized they were still being filmed or whatever. Adi says he's full of shit. And we hear Gareth just say, well, you know, whatever, what can he do, you know, at the end of the day. And thank God that's over. Taylor and Sam, well, they said once the pressure was off, remember, that something sort of clicked for them. And once they were back in the real world, Sam saw that, you know, Taylor wasn't just laying around, you know, he works very hard. He goes to work every day, you know. And they say they're taking it one step at a time. And that's really all it was. I mean, we wish them well. you know, and I give them a lot of credit for, you know, continuing to stick with it. So hopefully we'll see some updates if we keep our eyes and ears open about Dan and Yuki and Sam and Taylor. To the rest of the folks, you know, I wish them all well. I hope they find Dave a nice gal who he can finally settle down with. Yeah, we wish them all the best. You know, and hopefully Ksenia can maybe find a class in, you know, comedy or something, you know, so that it's not just how to insult people. So we'll see. Hopefully we've all grown from this experience, eh? Anyway, keep your eyes and ears open for news about Dan and Yuki, Sam and Taylor. Thanks to everybody who tuned in each week for our recaps. And if you have a show that you'd like to see updated, leave it in the comments. All right, everybody, have a great day. And that wraps up your Married at First Sight New Zealand Season 2. That's it.